Okay, today we are going to go over navigation and functionality in UBlearns, otherwise known as Blackboard. So this is kind of like a UBlearns 101 intro for people who maybe are not completely familiar with the setup of UBlearns. So right now I'm sharing my screen, and this is actually um, the GSE template for online courses. So you can see that the menu is set with announcements, syllabus, and course information, weekly units, discussion board, grades, email, faculty resources, student resources, Blackboard help. And not all courses look like this. This is, like I said, the GSE online template. So if you are teaching an online course and you elect to use the template, that is what your course menu would look like. This can be gone over in another training because the template's not today's purpose, but I just wanted to point that out. On-ground courses have a different menu, still with some of the same items like announcements and discussion board and other items like that. But I just wanted to point out that that is the online template format. So what this is referred to right here is the course menu. And this is where you can add sections and tool links and web links, and we can talk about that. So the way you would add a section in the course menu is to hover over the plus sign. And you'll see by hovering over the plus sign, you get a number of options. Content area, module page, blank page, tool link, web link, course link, subheader, divider. The only ones that I am going to touch on today that really would probably be the only ones you would use are content area, tool link, web link, course link, and subheader and divider, which are pretty much self-explanatory, but I'm going to go over them anyway. So module page and blank page are two things I don't foresee you using. So we will not go over those today, but if anybody has any questions about them, you're more than welcome to email me or Peter to ask what those are. So you hover over the plus sign, and the first selection is content area. Now content area, and you can give it a name, so we'll just call it content. And you want to click make it available to your users if you want your students to be able to see it. If you were to leave this unchecked, you could see it, they could not. But you can always make it available to them at a later time, and I'll show you how to do that. So we're gonna leave it unavailable and click submit, and it creates the area. Now you'll see it came all the way to the bottom of the menu. Anything that's created new in UBlearns goes to the bottom of the list or is in the last column. So you do have the ability though to move things around, and I will show you how to do that also. So we created a content area. We called it content. You can name it whatever you want. If you want it to be a content area that is full of videos, then you can call it videos. Or if you want it to be a content area full of images, you could call it images. But I will show you right now what is included or what is able to be created in a content area by clicking on this and entering the area. Now you can see because I don't have anything in there yet, it tells me that I don't, and it tells me that it's time to add something. So what we can add in a content area is by these little tabs up here, building content. You can create an item, you can create a file, audio, image, web link, learning module, lesson plan, course link, all these items here. Okay, those are under build content. This is something we'll go over more in another webinar. Under assessments, you have test, survey, assignment, self and peer assessment, mobile compatible test. We'll go over those in another training. And then tools, you have all of your tools, tool links that you can create. And we will go over course tools a little bit in this training because they're housed in the control panel, which we're going to go over today. So that is how you would create a content area on your course menu using the plus sign. Now, like I said, there are 5 other items you may also be creating when you are using the plus sign. Tool link. Tool link will allow you to bring a link up into the course menu to a course tool. An example of a course tool that you probably see in your UBlearns courses is discussion board. And you bring the link up into the course menu so the students can see it. Web link is exactly that. If you have a URL and you want to put the link to the URL directly on the course menu, you would use the web link tool. Course link, this is if you wanted to put a link to a specific item within the course, also in the course menu. So say you had an assignment in a content area and you also wanted to link to it directly to the menu, you could use course link and you could browse your course and see where that assignment is, and then you could put it right in there. You can also create subheaders. So if you wanted to have a heading that said like for students only, and you hit submit, there it is. Okay. If you wanted a divider, you just click and there they are. Now, these items can be moved around, like I said. So you may, open up your course on UBlearns and it's in a certain order, whether you have the GSE Online template or you have the other template that's used. And you may want something to go somewhere else. So you'll see if you hover to the left of an item in the course menu, you get the crossed arrows. You just click and hold and you can drag it to where you want it to be. Just simply by doing that. That's why with these dividers, when you create them and they come down to the bottom of the list, you can take them where you want them to be and separate where you want to separate. Okay, so that is how you create certain items to be added to the course menu. In addition, like I said earlier, you can rename headings, you can show them, you can hide them, all by this little gray circle, which when you hover over it and click it, will give you your options for that particular item. So rename link, hide link, and delete. That is what we can do to the tab marked syllabus and course information. But let's go down to this one that says faculty resources. You'll see that there is a box with a slash through it. And if you hover on it, that tells you that that link is hidden from students. So if there is the box with the slash, it means the link is hidden from the students. If, like down here in content, there's just a gray box with no slash, but it's grayed out, that's telling you that that link has no content in it. So we created that content area and we didn't put anything in there, and that gray box is going to show you that. So if we wanted to then show this link to students, we would come to the gray circle and we would click show link. And now it does not have that box with the slash through it. If we want to hide it again, we click the gray circle and hit say hide link, and the box is back. If we want to rename this, we click rename link, and it allows us to go in and rename it. So I'm just going faculty, and I click the green arrow or the green check, and that shows me that I renamed it. Now, when you have items that are hidden or empty and hidden, if you were to turn your edit mode off over here, right here, we are in edit mode is on, which means that we can add things and we can change things and we can revise things. If I click edit modes off, you're going to see something happen, okay? So if you look at the menu as it is right now, and if I click and you see you have your gray circle, you see faculty resources, but it's hidden, you see content, but it's hidden and empty. If I click edit mode off, you will see that any tabs that had no content or are hidden disappear. We do not have our gray circle anymore. And this shows you there is no content to display. It doesn't give you your tabs anymore where you can create anything. This is just a quick way to check how the students will be seeing the course, okay? It does still show you your control panel, which students do not see normally, but this is giving you a quick way to look at what the students will see. I'm going to click edit mode back on. Now you'll see that all those things are back, okay? And now we can add and delete and revise. But another way to get a true student experience in your course would be the student preview. And if you enter student preview mode, you are able to take your own quizzes, submit to your own assignments, to have a real student experience. And when you enter student preview mode, it does create kind of a pretend student. So anything you do, if you respond to a discussion board, or if you submit to an assignment, it actually comes into the Grade Center with this student preview user being listed in the Grade Center as a student, and those items coming into the Grade Center for you to grade. And I can show you when you're exiting student preview the question that you're asked. So I'm entering student preview. It takes a second. Once again, you'll see student preview mode is on. That's for you to know that you're in this mode. Those items that were empty or hidden, as you can see, aren't there. The control panel is not there because students normally do not have access to that. So now you could cycle through this course as a student. When you want to exit the student preview mode, you hit exit preview and it will ask you, do you want to delete the preview user and all data? So if you were taking your own test or submitting to your own discussion board or submitting to an assignment as your preview user, this gives you the opportunity as you're exiting the mode to delete any of that data that you created as this preview user. That is the recommended choice. You can keep the preview user and all data to be deleted at another time. And you can also check, remember this choice and didn't ask me again. So the best thing to do when you're leaving student preview is to delete the preview user and all data, because if you were to submit to the discussion board, say just pretending to respond to your discussion question, if you leave that data in there, the other students will see that there is this preview user in there who is pretending to be a student and answering these questions. So best thing to do or recommended is to delete the preview user and all data as you're exiting preview mode. If you were to go back into student preview mode again, it would once again create the preview user and any data that you created. You'll be asked again, do you want to delete the preview user and all data? So as you go back and forth in that mode, it will always do the same thing. Okay, another thing I wanted to show also, so here we have our course menu, and I showed you how you can move things around just by dragging and dropping, but also up here, there is keyboard accessible reordering. So you could click this and you could move, you can move them around in a different way. So you could use like, your keyboard to do it instead of doing, and then it'll tell you it's been reordered, instead of using the drag and drop. Another thing that I think is a nice quick little tool is up here. This is course to course navigation. So say you are in one of your courses and you're teaching for others. Instead of going back to your home page in UBlearns, you would click course to course navigation, and it's going to allow you to browse your recently visited and your other courses in your course listing, and you can travel between them. So you don't have to go back to the home page, find the course, then go to that course. This is kind of like a little, shortcut. So that's this little gray circle right here. That is course to course navigation. This is pretty much the course menu. So the items that we really need to remember when we're talking about the course menu are adding areas or links or subheaders or dividers, being able to rename, hide, delete, being able to reorder by dragging and dropping, knowing which sections are hidden and which sections are empty. And also that, you can do edit mode on and off, and you can do student preview. So those are the items for the course menu that I find to be the most important. And like I said, in further webinars, in further training, we will talk about, going into a content area and using these tabs. That's part of a different webinar. So we will get to that. So that is the course menu. Now, moving on, we are moving on to the control panel. And this is an area that is not accessible or visible to students. And there are quite a lot of items in it. So we want to equate ourselves with some of the biggies. And the first one being course tools. Now, if I click on course tools, it's going to open the whole list that is available to you. And remember earlier when I was talking about creating tool links in the course menu? These are the tools that I was referring to. So the discussion board is already automatically up in the course menu in every course that's created. That is actually a tool link. So the discussion board was already linked to the course menu. Now, if you wanted to use another tool, like say a blog, you would click on blog. You would create the blog, just call it blog number 1, put some instructions in there. Is it available? Yes. These are all your options, right? If you want to limit availability, you choose what type of blog it is, make it a course blog, any settings, any grading, and you submit. Now, this blog is now created, as you'll see right here, okay? It sits in the blog area. I clicked on it again. There it is. But students can't see it yet. And this is where the tool link comes in. So now, if I want students to be able to access this blog, this is where we come back to the plus sign, tool link, and it's going to let me choose from the drop down. I'm going to choose blogs. I'm going to call it, I don't know, course blog, if that's what I want to call it. Make it available to my users, hit submit. It comes in at the bottom of the menu. I can move it up to where I want it to be. I'll put it by the discussion board. And now, okay, now it's on my course menu. So not only is it housed here where I created it, it is also now available to students right here. So that would be how you would, any of these tools under course tools that you maybe want to, and announcements is also a course tool that's automatically put up in our course menus. Any of these tools you may want to use, discussion board, journals, rubrics, tests, tool links can be created and placed up in the course menu to these tools. This can also be done in the content area, but we will go over that when we talk about creating content. So, course tools right here. You have achievements. We will go over these types of items in other trainings because this is really focusing on just the course menu and the control panel for right now. But we have achievements, which is like badging. Announcements, already in the course menu. That's how you send an announcement to the whole course. Blogs, another type of interactive tool. If you didn't want to do a discussion board, you could do a blog. Contacts we don't really use. Course calendar, if you wanted to put the course calendar up into the course menu, what that will do for students is any assignments, tests, discussion boards, blogs, journals that these students need to complete. If you were to assign it a due date, the item will show up in the course menu. So when the students click course menu, what they are going to see, because the course or the course calendar is individual to the user in the system. So if I was to go into my course calendar, what I would see are due dates for, items in all the classes in which I am enrolled. If you were to go into your course calendar, you would see the due dates for or events for all the courses in which you are enrolled. So it is an individual to the user, but you as an instructor, if you were to, create an assignment, give it a due date of, say, May 1st, every student that's enrolled in your course is going to see that they have a due date of May 1st for this assignment in your course. And I like the course calendar, which is why I want to go over this. And because you can color code, so these are all of the courses in which I am enrolled. Clearly, it's a lot. Every course has a color. So if I wanted to change the color, I can do that. And then you can even put in, customized colors if you know the number. And I'll know that, Unit A participation is due on April 4th because I am enrolled in that course. And you also have a personal calendar, so you can add items of a personal nature. And because this calendar is individual to you, nobody else can see them. So if you wanted to put in, I have a doctor's appointment on, May 1st at 4 o'clock, you could put that in there. Nobody else is going to see it because it's on your personal calendar. So the course calendar, that is another tool that can be brought up into the course menu if you want to use it. Course messages, that is communication that stays within UBlearns. That is how it is different from email. Students would need to access course messages and they would have their whole course listing in there. They could choose, who the recipient is. They click and bring it over, just like the email tool that we have up here in the course menu. But this stays all within UBlearns. They always have to check it from course messages, which you would have to put a tool link, obviously, up into the course menu. But all the communication would stay within the course. Date management, we will go over at another time. In one of our creating content webinars. Discussion board, we're already aware of. Glossary is rarely used. Journals, this is another communication tool, and this is more of a private communication tool. So this would be if you wanted to create a journal with certain journal prompts, and the students would all answer it, but you would only, the students would only see the communication between, you and that particular student. They're not going to see everybody else's responses. So that's the journals tool. Mobile compatible tests we'll go over another time. Rubrics can be created from course tool. Safe Assign is actually incorporated into assignments, or should be, and we can go over that. Self and peer assessments not used very much, but we can cover that in creating content also. Send email. We have the email tool right up here in the course menu, but if you had a template for your course that did not include the email link, you could put that up in your course menu. Tasks rarely used, test surveys and pools, go over that in creating content. Wikis, another way for students to collaborate. So these are all the course tools that you can use within your course for certain deliverables or communication that can be brought up into the course menu. Under the Evaluation tab, this is where course reports sit and the Retention Center. And I think that what we will do, Retention Center, will be covered along with the Grade Center because it is a way of tracking at-risk students who may be falling behind in relation to accessing the course, deadlines for items, grades. Those are some of the rules or parameters that kick out an alert to you. Course reports. This is if you wanted to take a look at user activity, maybe overall or maybe for a single student. So this is a way you could run a report. It comes back pretty formal, PDF format in which you can see maybe when the student accessed the course, how long they spent in a certain item. So this is how you would run those types of reports. Grade Center, fairly self-explanatory. This is where you would do all of your grading and where you can use the inline grading for, papers maybe. This is where anything that the student would submit electronically to UBlearns, whether through the discussion board or assignments or tests or, if you choose to use a blog or a journal, as you create those items and give them, assess points and give them due dates, columns are automatically created in the Grade Center. This will be a separate training. The Grade Center has a lot of functions and it definitely needs to have its own training. But this is technically what it looks like. Obviously, there's no students in this course because it's a training course, and there's just sample tests right now. But if I had other items, assignments and whatnot, they would all have these columns over here, and you would be able to see them. Okay, users and groups. This one is important because we do get questions about, say you have a course and you have a TA, and the TA needs to be able to grade, and he or she cannot see the Grade Center. It's probably because they have the wrong role in the course. So if you put them in the course as a course builder, that's why they can't see the Grade Center because they're not in as a TA. So if you were to click on users, you can see your users, and currently it's just Peter and myself in this course, but you can also see our roles. And we're both listed as instructor, but say I wanted Peter to be a student. Well, let me show you that again. I would come over to Peter's name. Here's my gray circle, my options menu. Change user's role in course. And here are your available roles: student, instructor, teaching assistant, course builder, grader, guest. We don't normally use guest, but if you had, say you, like I said, you had a student who was supposed to be grading and they just had the course builder role, they would not be able to see the Grade Center. So you'd want to either switch them to grader, which means they couldn't create content, or make them a teaching assistant where they could do both, create content and grade. So that's how you change a user's role. Just under the users and groups tab, go to users, go to your menu of options. Okay. In customization, which is another tab, here we have it. The most important thing, or one of the most important things in here, is how to make your course available. So under properties, you will see you can set availability. Make this course available to users. Yes, no. This one is set to yes. If I didn't want it to be available, I would click no and submit, and you will see it tells me up here, course is unavailable to students. If I wanted to change that, click it again, click yes, submit. I don't have that anymore telling me that the course is unavailable. It is now available. Another thing that you can do in customization is when a student clicks on your course and enters it, it usually takes them to a certain page. You can change where you want them to land. So, in other words, for this particular course, the entry point is announcements. So whenever this course is accessed, announcements are what show. So let's do this. If I was just to go home. Okay, so when I access this course as a student, announcements is the page I'm taken to. And because generally, if I'm posting a lot of announcements, giving them maybe changes to the syllabus at the last minute or something they really need to know, or I found a great resource or link and I want them to see it right away, I would put an announcement in there. But maybe you want your students to come in at, let's see, weekly units. That is where all the content is. That is where their readings and their videos and their assignments, maybe that's where you want them to enter. You would change it by going to teaching style under customization, teaching style, and coming to select course entry point and changing it to weekly units. Hit submit. So now, if I hit the home button, when the students come into the course, it's going to be weekly units that's right in front of them instead of announcements. So that is how you change your course entry point. Another item under the control panel, packages and utilities. This is where you come if you want to course copy, export or archive a course. Maybe you want to archive it or you want to export it and save it as a zip file to your computer. This is where you would do these things. So if you want to copy it to another section, or if you want to export it and save it, this is the section that you would come to. Last but not least is the Help tab. If for some reason you need help with a function within Blackboard or UBlearns, and it's not during the regular day, and maybe it's late at night, and you're working on your course, and it's midnight, and you just can't remember how to create a test. You could come to this help section, and you could go to video tutorials, or you could go to Blackboard Help for Instructors, and this takes you to the Blackboard page. And there's common issues. See, might make my course available, set up course discussions. How do I do that? Create tests. So they're popular pages. And so they section it all off for you. And so if you are having an issue and you can't, get into contact with the GSE instructional designers to help you, and it's just a time when they're not available, you could come to Blackboard Learn Help for Instructors. It's a great site to go to, and it has a lot of information. So now there's also video tutorials under the Help tab. See, need help with Blackboard Learn, and they have all these things that can help you. So that is, that's the course menu in a nutshell, and the control panel in a nutshell. There's a lot in the control panel to go over that we'll go over in other trainings, as I mentioned. But if you have any questions regarding any of this information, you can email Peter Schilke or myself, Ellen Seide. We are on the GSE, website, and there's also the GSE ID at buffalo.edu email. That's just a generic email that goes to both Peter and I. So if you do have any questions, please let us know. We will be having more trainings, webinars, workshops, and we will be sharing that information on the GSE Engage blog and through the listserv. So hopefully we will be seeing you soon and you'll bring us your questions and we can create some great content and some great deliverables for your students. Thanks.